Hey, everyone. I think we're live now. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Garrett Wang. You should probably know me from Star Trek Voyager. Here we are. We're having our live Q&A with the Voyager Documentary producers, the production team, or at least part of the production team. Dave Zappone, who is our director and one of the producers, is not here. He is under the weather, unfortunately. So, positive thoughts and good vibes. Everyone give that out, and hopefully Dave Zappone will heal faster than normal. And I'm really bummed because I made the observation last time that we did a Q&A together that Dave Zappone is the living, breathing, identical person to actor Eugene Levy. We talked about that. So I said he's the doppelganger, and I really wanted people to kind of hear him talk and notice that he was very Eugene Levy-esque. But so the truth is he is under the weather. I was going to joke and say that he was basically doing a stunt double thing for Eugene Levy in Vancouver, but I didn't say that. But who we do have, we have our director of photography and co-director and co-producer, Kevin Layne, as well as co-producer his wife, Helene Layne. We have Joseph, or you don't go by Joseph, do you? No.
Only in court.
Only. All right, Joe. And we talked about this before. Joe has a very German last name. And I asked him, how would you like me to pronounce this? And he says, you could just say cornbro. And I'm like, I don't know. That sounds like a surfing term. I'm not going to go with cornbro. I'm going to say the correct pronunciation, which is Kornbolt. So Joe Kornbolt, who is our editor and also another co-producer on the Voyager documentary, as well as we have Lolita Fatjo. And Lolita, unfortunately, has been a casualty of technology. I was going to say casualty of war, but it's not war. It's truly a casualty of technology. Her video is not working, but we do have Lolita Fatjo here in spirit and in her voice, in audio only. So you'll see, there she is. She's basically HAL 9000 or Hallie 9000, or in the Star Trek world, she is computer right now. So Lolita Fatjo is here by audio only. But this is still a really good representation of the production team for the Voyager documentary. Now, the Voyager documentary has they have filmed quite a bit of footage to start off with the cruise, with the Star Trek cruise. The Star Trek cruise was in basically March of last year. Excuse me, that's incorrect. It was March of 2000. No, it was March of 2020. Sorry, guys. I was going to say 2019. It was the very one of the last cruises to go out. I think maybe the 80s cruise was the one right after us. And then after that, everything shut down for Royal Caribbean and for pretty much every other cruise line. But thank God we were able to go on that Voyager celebration. Yeah. And truly, guys, that was the only celebration for Voyager that took place in 2020. Everything else didn't happen, but it was a wonderful, wonderful time. Anyway, so I just want to go across to talk to everybody to just say a few things about how they felt about the cruise, starting with maybe with Kevin.
The cruise was remarkably cool. I don't think that I've ever been a part of anything where there were 4,000 Star Trek fans on a cruise ship going out to sea. It was just really, it was nice because it gave us an opportunity of capturing a different feeling in the documentary footage than we would have normally had the opportunity to. So much stuff is inside, we get out when we can, but this was truly something very fresh and a lot of fun. It was great interaction with all of you guys, Garrett and the cast. You made so many things happen for us. And it was just a blast. It was a blast. We shot a lot of great stuff. It was actually the beginning of the doc. And we didn't know, while we were on it, that we would have to take a bit of a hiatus, but it worked out really well. The cruise did.
And of course, integral to making this happen was Lolita Fatjo, who I did not give her credit. She's also a co-producer on the Voyager documentary and the talent coordinator and the person who set up the connections, really, to have 455 Films and the Voyager production team show up on the cruise. It was really Lolita who brokered that deal with ECP. And, like Kevin said, it's truly, it is a spectacle. It's really amazing. And I myself, as an actor, a Star Trek actor, I've been on Star Trek cruises before in the past, but usually 1/10 or less, only 10% or less of the passenger manifest is made up of the Star Trek cruise people. Whereas this specific Star Trek cruise, it's everybody. The entire every passenger room is filled with somebody that is here for the convention on the water. And I'll tell you something: when you have that kind of energy, it's palpable. It's different from any other land-based convention you've been to. And those are great. Those are fun. But it almost seems like everything is intensified with a magnifying glass. I mean, it's just everything is, the energy is so much more present, and it's really an amazing thing. Joe, what were your thoughts about the cruise? What did you like so much? What did you like best about the cruise?
Well, before I get into that, I saw a post early on when you pronounced my name. Apparently, the autocorrect display or the auto caption displayed it as there it is.
Cornbread.
That's the story of my life.
Oh, this is your new name now. You know that your nickname is now Cornbread.
It's been my whole life. That's nothing new to me, Garrett. But thank you.
Oh no. Oh, okay. Listen, everybody. But see, that's Joe. At least it's cornbread's good. You know what I'm saying? Cornbread goes with a lot of stuff. You can have cornbread.
But they don't really eat cornbread in Germany. It's actually rye bread is what it really was.
Oh, okay. Okay. But Joe Rye Bread doesn't have the same cachet as Joe Cornbread is what I'm going to go with.
Do they both have cachet?
They do. They do.
Wow.
And,
all right.
Yeah.
I'll go with that.
Yeah.
The cruise, I got to be honest, that cruise was the first cruise I'd ever been on.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to go on 2 cruises that year. The second cruise obviously did not happen. That was supposed to be down the Danube. I kind of upset that I missed that one. But we all were there. We all missed it. We all missed a lot of things. But the cruise, it was incredible. I'd never been to the Caribbean. I'd never been to Miami. So just getting out and seeing those places was wonderful. And but I got to say, it was amazing to be in a floating city with so many Star Trek fans. Mm-hmm. It was just incredible. Yeah, I mean, look at that. That was our first day.
Yeah.
And it was so beautiful, and it was just a big party with everybody. With the ECP were phenomenal. They were working so hard, yet they seemed to have so much fun. All the actors, the talent seemed to be having a blast there, and the fans seemed to be having a blast. And we were there like you. We were working. We were busting our hump to document all this stuff. But it was one of the most unique production experiences I've ever had. Kevin's a lot. I'm more in the dark rooms, working on a computer for hours. Kevin and Helene, they're more in the production world. So for them, maybe
like you said the other night, Joe, that was like our first setup. Our first setup was with 4,000 people, a huge stage, people everywhere. So, and it's just really, when you're in conventions, people are down the halls and they're in this room or they're in that room. With this moment that just reminded us all of, wow, everybody is there. And blue skies outside. Concert. Felt like a concert.
Yeah.
Super cool.
And guys, that whole, opening ceremonies type of thing is unique as well. I mean, I would say I know of maybe 2 or 3 other conventions that do that, where you come out at the beginning of the convention and you introduce everybody. And the Star Trek cruise is one of them. And it's such an amazing feeling because you see everybody. Everybody is out there, and it's out on the deck, and it's right there. You know, as we're did we actually depart, or were we still in port when this happened? Were we still in Miami? Right?
Still in port now.
Yeah.
Joe?
Okay.
Yeah, we were still in port. It wasn't until after that ceremony was over that they started to pull out, because we pulled out as the sun was going down, I believe. Gotcha. Yeah. So then our first destination, guys, was Punta Cana. Now that ocean was so rough that day. And Lolita, you've been on pretty much all of these now. So I just want you to comment a little bit on how crazy that was in that first port of call that we went to.
Yeah, like Garrett, I've been on many, many cruises, and the Peter Star Trek cruises are something different altogether, and they're wonderful. But that was a crazy day at sea. I mean, I don't even know how to explain that.
Did you say that was rougher seas than any other cruise, at least with the Star Trek cruise people that you've been with ECP? Would you say that was the roughest, or
well, no? A few years back, we did a cruise with ECP where we literally couldn't dock one day because the weather was so bad. So we all had to stay on the ship and figure out programming for a whole 24 hours. And the actors all came together, and the fans were happy, and that was rough waters then. For sure. But yeah, this was second to that.
Got you. Well, as rough as the waters were, guys, I would have to say that people are still so excited to be there that it doesn't matter. I mean, honestly, people were taking it in stride, right, Kevin?
I never knew it was rough. Maybe I was busy or something.
We were busy.
That's the rough part.
I didn't feel it, but we didn't port. They had these, I don't know what they're called, the little shuttle crafts that would go to land from the ship. Yeah. And so people were getting into those, and it would be like 10 or 20 people. And they could, after the first few went out, there was too rough, and people, I think, were getting a little seasick, and they had to come back.
Yeah.
But it was just glorious. Just glorious.
Yeah.
What an experience. Fantastic experience.
Definitely. And then after Punta Cana, I guess we went to San Juan, Puerto Rico. One of the highlights of that stop was the excursion with Bob Picardo. Mojitos and Mofongo with Bob Picardo, which I'm sure whoever went on that must have had a wonderful time. And that's one of the great things about this Star Trek, the cruise, is that fans get a chance to go on excursions and led by, or at least accompanied by, one of the Star Trek actors. And Mojitos and Mofongo with Picardo in San Juan was the Bob Picardo excursion. St. Thomas, the next port, was the snorkeling excursion with yours truly. And that was super fun. I've never, there you go. Look at that picture. Look at me. I'm giving the Star Trek Live Long and Prosper sign right there in the middle. And fans are kind of all floating around me. But, that snorkeling, everyone's...
see the other direction, Garrett. If we could only see the other direction. People on the beach.
Yes. So it truly... Snorkeling, everyone's done it before. It's not like that's a new thing. But what was unique about this excursion was when we were towards the end, we took a group photo, and that group photo was just all of us kind of in the water. I think we took one on land too, right? We took one on land, but the one in the water, everyone's floating around me. And after we took the photo, everyone just sort of kind of like floated away from me a little bit, but in a circle. And I'm sitting here entertaining and talking and just telling funny stories. And Kevin is referring to the reverse angle, meaning the angle of people on the beach. And there were people that were on that beach that were not part of the Star Trek cruise. And they're just looking at me and they're just staring. And they're talking, and you just can tell they're going, what is going on? Who is that? Is he a preacher? Is he what is he a motivational speaker, that does all of his seminars in the water? Who knows? But that led to a little bit of, I added that to my stand-up comedy act, which was, I think on Thursday night and on Saturday night. I did 2 shows. And that's another thing that sets this cruise convention apart from all other land-based conventions, is that they really they really ask each actor to contribute something other than a standard Q&A. They ask each actor, hey, you know, what can you contribute in a panel that's different from what you would do in a land-based convention? So let's say at least the people that I knew when I was on that cruise last year, and that was my first cruise. Nana Visitor did a cooking demonstration. Gates McFadden did a dance seminar. And then my little 2 cents, my contribution was stand-up. And this was my first time doing stand-up comedy. I was so nervous, absolutely just scared. And it came off really, really well. And part of it is because in my history of attending land-based conventions and other cruise conventions, my Q&A is very similar to stand-up already as it is. So it wasn't really that much of a stretch. Look at me sitting. Yeah, okay. I kind of half sitting.
Garrett, I have to say I've seen you on stage a million times, but it was pretty amazing. Yeah, it was awesome.
Thank you, Lolita. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
We had the big Voyager reunion panel. I think we've got a photo of that. This was a wonderful, one of the best panels that I've been a part of. And to be honest, every Voyager reunion panel that I've ever been a part of, we've always just, we've put people on the floor in terms of laughter. I mean, they're just when you're laughing so hard that your stomach is hurting. That's the kind of laughter that the Voyager crew elicits when they're all together. So it was a really, really wonderful panel. We also sang Happy Birthday to Kate, not Kate's, but Jerry Ryan's daughter. Yeah, it was Jerry Ryan's daughter's birthday, and she couldn't be there. So we had the whole audience, everybody, and all the actors sing Happy Birthday to her. So that was very endearing and sweet. Tim Russ, go ahead. Yes, Joe.
I was going to say I went back and I was looking at that panel today, and you told a story about the Mr. Fix-It guy.
Oh, yes, the Mr. Yes, with Ethan Phillips. Yes. Yeah, he was on set. He was absolutely hilarious when we were filming Voyager. He would make us all laugh because during rehearsal, he'd be walking around and he would pull his pants down to the point where basically they were half on, half off. And then he'd say, "Hey guys, I heard something needs to be fixed over here. I'm coming over to fix something." And he would bend over to pretend he was like fixing, and he would basically moon us. We'd get to see, moon over Miami, and it was one of those things that you just can never forget when you see somebody's butt crack. But it was all for comedy, right? Tim Russ's band performed. Tim has been a musician for many, many years. I think we have do we have any? There we go. Look at Tim. Wow. He's actually posing for the photo in that one. That was pretty funny.
Tim was awesome. I mean, he's got a fantastic way of mashing different songs together. And that's one of the things about this cruise and about the footage that we got on this cruise is that it just I think it'll give fans a little bit different and a more intimate perspective of all of you guys and gals, and Tim's playing music, with his band, and he's taking tracks and he's putting them together in really, really unique and different ways. So that was a lot of fun, catching him jamming out with his guys and just seeing one of you in something that's completely opposite that what maybe we know you, from.
Exactly.
You doing stand-up, we've never seen you that way before, and it was, it was an insider's look. So
exactly.
one of my favorite actual real life mashups in that was Tim's introduction to your second stand-up set.
Yeah, tell him about that, Joe. What he came out on stage in a bathrobe? Is that?
Yeah, he came out on
slippers
stage with a bathrobe, which is apparently something he would do on set with you guys.
Yeah, super casual. Yeah, and he had a little frilly drink with a little umbrella in there, I think. Right? Yeah. I had no clue what he was doing. I thought he was at the wrong panel. And no one told me he was introducing me. I just see him wearing a bathrobe. I'm like, I go, dude, what are you doing? I go, is this your panel? You're in the wrong place. He goes, yeah, I'm introducing your stand-up. I'm like, oh, okay. Sounds good.
He was trying to keep you on your toes.
Yeah, he was. Oh, can you put up that picture of Kate sitting in the captain's chair on the ship with the captain? I love that photo. Let's see if we see that.
Yeah, that was
Kaylee's like, where's that?
That was that should be in the document.
Did you guys follow her and record?
Yeah, so that was something that Dave actually set up.
Yeah,
I'll speak for Dave a little bit.
Sure.
And and I think there was a little miscommunication between Kate and her representative who was working with us, because Kate, we believe, thought that the captain had requested her to come, and then, she was a little confused at first because she saw the camera crew there, but she just went with it, and it was really cool. She just walked around that. I mean, all of us got to go on the bridge of the cruise ship. Fortunately, we were docked, so there was not a chance that I was actually going to bump into something and set us off course or put us into an iceberg. But we got Kate sitting in the captain's chair of a cruise, so it's almost like Voyager, but we didn't get lost for 7 years in the Caribbean, so it was a good thing.
I want to ask Helene what her favorite part of the cruise was. What did she feel that she enjoyed the most?
Well, we always like to have the fans represented in our films, and this was a little bit of an unknown for us. We've always filmed in Creation in Vegas. This was our first time with the cruise, and they were gracious enough to put out kind of like a casting call for us, asking fans to send us a note about why they should be in the film and what was their favorite character and what did the show mean to them growing up or as adults. And so I had to cull through 300 emails of fans pouring out their hearts and their passion about you guys. And so it was really great to read all of those notes and then to set up a shoot. We were able to bring them in. We gave them their 15 seconds of fame. We had a young girl who came out in her Kate costume, right, dressed as Kate. And like in our Get a Life film, we have found with all of these projects that the fans, there's nothing like, first of all, Star Trek fans, but the passion and the inspiration that they take from the shows for us, it gives me goosebumps. It's really an honor for us to tell their story. So that was my favorite part, was the fans, the emails, them telling us why they loved you guys.
So Helene, out of the 300 some odd emails, how many did you select in the end to come up?
Like Joe, how many did we shoot?
7.
Well, I can't remember how many we shot. We basically it ended up being, if you could make it to this theater, we would put you on. And we started at like 9:30 or 10 at night.
Yeah.
And we went till 1 in the morning. So we basically, anybody that wanted to get up on that stage and share their Voyager thoughts, memories, anything, we let them do that. And we even let a few of them come back because they felt like they didn't articulate very well the first time. So we let them come on back. And Kevin spent a lot of time with people that were a little shy, and he would kind of coax it out of them. He was very reassuring and encouraging to them. So I think everybody that did get to do it, they felt like they were being heard and they got to say their piece.
Yeah, it was fun. It's always it's the backbone. It's everything. The fans have carried this 56 years now. This carried it with light and love and intelligence and with forward thinking. And here we are. Very fortunate to be here again with you guys, which is like this completely different dynamic of people.
It is the best cast. I think these are the best.
Uh-oh, is Bill listening?
I would disagree with that. I don't think that's the best cast. Of course, I am the original, the Shats. So sorry. I think that's incredible that you guys got that opportunity to interview the fans. And Kevin, we talked about this before, and Joe, we talked about this before, that the conditions were so good in terms of the stage, the lighting, the audio, because, you know, let's face it, a lot of times you don't have superior sound and lighting at the venues that you interview, correct, guys?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the thing is, you have. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lolita.
No, I was going to say at a convention, it's never the best lighting and sound. It's in a big, huge room.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, this, I think for everybody, the actors included, this was so special to have that amazing theater space, right, guys?
It was a first class everything. I mean, it's, you know, it's the ship itself is basically art directed. It's not like you're going into a convention hall that's a box this week for this and a box that week for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this was a ship that was decked out for Star Trek.
With environment.
It was environment and vibe, and the theater that you all were in was, you know, a A1 Pro theater. You know, lighting, just the venue itself. It was like being in an intimate concert environment.
Yeah. And the second theater that they had, I guess normally it's an ice skating rink. How novel on a cruise ship to have an ice skating rink, but that's where you did your stand up and where Tim performed, and that's where the raves, a lot of the parties, the dance parties were. And even that, I mean, they all had nice soundboards. Even out on the deck when you guys did the intro, you know, we were getting the feed, the audio feed from the board, from your mics and stuff. But they were just, they had great, just top-notch technical requirements in that theater. As we've go over and over, but we were all so blown away. That was like a Broadway level theater, on a ship.
Yeah, and you know, being a production company for documentaries, it's half the battle if the sound and the lighting is already there for you. I mean, you're just like, really, thank you. It's just like, yay, yeah. It's a good thing.
Definitely. And, you know, the Rat Pack got to perform there, and we filmed all of the Star Trek Rat Pack, their second show. And that probably is the best footage. I mean, they haven't actually seen it yet. I'm going to have to put that together now. Thanks for me bringing it up. Not kidding myself. But, you know, I'm just glad that we were able to document them in such a great venue.
Yeah. See, look how great they look. The lighting is fabulous. They look fabulous. The backdrop, everything's A1. It's all pro. It looks really good. The parties were really fun. Especially with Ken Mitchell. Ken Mitchell's rave. That was very moving. At one point, basically, Ken was, I don't want to call it crowd surfing, but he was definitely, he was pulled out of his wheelchair, and there it is. Look at that photo.
He's surfing. He's surfing, all right.
yeah, it's crowd surfing, and it was really, it was moving because they were playing the Discovery theme music, but it was basically that with a bit of a techno beat to it. I think, right? It was a mashup,
definitely.
And so the Ken Mitchell rave, I actually showed up. I was really tired. I don't think that I was feeling like I couldn't go. And then I remember Megan, my gal Megan, was like, we should go. You should definitely go. And at the time, what no one knew was I was dealing with a bulging disc in my neck. So I had surgery 2 months after the cruise came back to fix this bulging disc, which was affecting my mobility. I wasn't able to really walk very well. I would collapse. So I mustered every ounce of energy I could just to dance around as best as I could. I probably looked kind of silly because I couldn't really do my full range of dance moves that I typically like to go through, but I did do some hopping up and down and a little bit of glow sticking, and it supported Ken.
There's Kevin in that photo.
Is that Kevin down there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there he is. Yeah. And it was really a moving time, and anybody who missed it, I'm sad that they didn't get a chance to see it.
There will be a part of this film in some way. That was something that, that we did not plan for, that became clearly obvious to us as filmmakers that we really wanted to, dive into his story a little bit, and that rave was the culmination of that. So we've got a package that's built, and we'll see some aspect. I don't know exactly how we're going to utilize what we have, but it's a very, very moving. It was extremely moving. I mean, Ken had his.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, you know, we didn't know until we were on the cruise and in the introductions, and we saw Ken. His wheelchair was lifted up on stage, and he came out, and that was our first. We didn't realize. I guess he had announced just before the cruise that he had MS, but I didn't.
ALS.
I didn't.
ALS.
ALS. I'm sorry, ALS. And so we didn't really know about it until that moment, and that was a very moving experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I do remember when they were trying to get him off, and it was very complicated because his chair is big and bulky. You actually, Garrett, filled in, kind of kept the audience going while that was happening.
Yeah, I went up and did a little bit of stand up, I guess, just to keep the action going, because they had issues with bringing they didn't know that they had to have that wheelchair up there.
Yeah.
And Ken and I, we met a few years back at Dragon Con. I serve as the Trek track director there. So I'm in charge of all the Trek programming, and I do a lot of the moderating of the panels there. And so we had the Discovery, some of the Discovery actors there. And that's when I met Ken for the first time. And this is before he came down with ALS. Basically, everything was fine, walking, talking, everything. And we became good friends there. And then, he basically told me that it was not this cruise, but the prior cruise, which was his first cruise that he went on, the 2019 cruise. And he was supposed to do I think he was supposed to do an exhibition tennis match on that cruise ship, which had a tennis court. And he said during warm-ups, he took one step and he knew something was wrong then. And that's when he first felt it. And it was on the cruise. And he said, oh my gosh, I can't play this exhibition match. So they actually grabbed another Trek actor who came out and kind of helped out and filled in. But that's when he first discovered that he had it. And it's just one of those afflictions that it's so frustrating to see somebody who's full of life and having to slow deterioration is just so frustrating that there isn't a cure.
On that ship, the love for him in that event and the introductions, and then in that rave party. Yeah. I had never been a part of anything like that, and I'm sure Joe would. Yeah.
He was. But Ken is so positive, and his friends that he grew up with. I mean, they did that. They put on that rave together. Those four guys, Alistair and JJ, and
lifelong friends since they were old enough to.
Ken was so inspiring because he's like, I'm not going to let this stop me from living. And that was just such a beautiful thing to see. I mean, who knows how I have no idea how I would react to something like that. I hope it would be if something like that happened to me, I hope I reacted with the grace and dignity and joie de vivre that Ken Mitchell has.
Definitely.
The love though was what I came away from that experience with everybody's love and support of this man.
Yeah, and you felt that, Kevin, during the opening ceremonies when he was on stage. It was palpable. You could feel everybody's energy was directed towards Ken, and that everybody was there for him. Was supporting him, and it was a beautiful moment. It really was. I visited Ken at his house in LA probably about 3 weeks ago, and he's been dealing with some tough times for sure, but he told me that on his bucket list, I don't know if I'm able to say this here, but on his bucket list, he wants to do stand-up. And so he asked me, is it okay if I'm your intro act? I go, hell yeah. Yeah. You are definitely, you have earned that, my friend. You would definitely do my intro if you'd like, or you can have your own, if you want your entire, stand-up act to be by yourself. And he goes, no. I just want to get up there and just and really just make fun of my lack of mobility. Like, he's gonna really bring down the house. I'm telling you. He gave me a little He gave me a little taste of what he was going to say, and I was laughing my butt off, to be honest.
I have an idea. If we can get 2 other Star Trek actors to do it, we can do our own Kings of Comedy, but you guys.
Yeah, we could do that. I'm looking at the comments here from YouTube. Hey, look, Joe, from the old country, Der Alta Trekkie from Germany. He goes, that was a great Bill Shatner impression from earlier. Thanks a lot, Der Alta Trekkie. Crystal Rose Marcus asks, how and when can we see this documentary? Who wants to talk about this? Joe?
Well,
Joe.
Yes, I will. I'll start. When will be most likely in the fall of next year. That's what we're shooting for. Obviously, if you back the documentary at certain levels, you'll get a region-free Blu-ray / DVD combo. So that is a guaranteed way to see the film. After that, once the film is made, we go and find a distributor, and really ultimately the distributor, they're the ones in control of how to best get the film out. Our last distributor, we did a 1-day Fathom event in the US and Canada in theaters, over 800 theaters. And then a month later, the film was another 1-day event in the UK and Germany and Austria and Australia. I can't guarantee that's going to happen again, but we hope so. It was a rousing success for what we left behind. Of course, our distributor, Shout Factory, the film is available in the US for what we left behind. We hope that whether it's Shout Factory or whoever is going to pick this film up, they're going to also distribute it internationally. So I can't tell you once it gets to distributor how it's going to get out there, but I can tell you, if you really want to see the film, the best way to do it is to contribute to our Indiegogo campaign. And if you do that at the DVD Blu-ray level, you will get the film and you'll be able to see it.
Hey, let's talk a little bit about the Indiegogo campaign. We've hit some milestones. We've hit some amazing milestones. I think in the first day there's different goals that they put in an Indiegogo campaign that you want to hit. And the first day goal, I think, was met within 6 hours, the first 6 hours of the Indiegogo campaign. But then there were a lot of fans who were confused. They were thinking, oh, well, they met their goal. I guess we don't need to contribute. And that's one of the goals. There's multiple goals to getting to finance this documentary, and that's not the first goal. In fact, the Indiegogo campaign is going on for the entire month of March, and so the more that can be contributed, the better film that can be produced and shown to the fandom, and that's what we're looking for right now. And I got to say, we are right now the third. I think we're number 3 in terms of crowdfunding for documentaries right now. We're in the number 3 position. At the number 2 position is a Bill Nye documentary, Bill Nye the Science Guy, and number 1 is a Frank Zappa documentary. So we're very, very close to surpassing the Bill Nye. But if we could surpass the Frank Zappa one, boy, that would be historic and amazing. So maybe we should just start a little chant of surpass Bill and Frank, surpass Bill and Frank. And maybe that will, get things in the universe kind of moving towards that. But yes, we feel very blessed because out of the top 5 crowdfunded documentaries, 3 of them are our films, our 455 films. So that's pretty incredible, and that's a testament to the Star Trek fans, the fandom, more than anything, because without their help, your help, we couldn't do these things.
I'm really excited about what the campaign allows us to do, and allow us is budget, right? Budget drives everything. I mean, to be able to afford to take the trip to shoot the person that we haven't really seen much of that had something to do with this series, but we have to go to see that person. That's where the dollars allows us to go to, and all the the graphics and the up-resing, the high def stuff. But very, very excited about, having the opportunity of having the tools and having the time and having the budget to explore these things. I mean, really, we've been on hold, since this cruise. I mean, it's been very difficult, obviously, for everyone. But for us, we hit the wall, right? Because nobody was filming, nobody was doing anything. And so now we're creeping back into things are opening up a little bit. And I hope everyone stays smart with their social distancing and masks. And we keep going forward. But we're really excited about what's coming in the future.
I just want to say, if everyone gets a chance to look at the campaign, that the perks have our current time in mind and also the future. And so they take that into consideration. And we have away missions. We also have Zoom calls, and we have just this great combination of the Voyager cast that have worked with us to make the film, to offer these perks to the fans. So really, it's a win-win-win, this combination. So we're very grateful to everyone from the cast that's helped us to do the campaign, and to all the contributors who've given us this opportunity to make the film to tell the story of Voyager. It is the 25th anniversary, and it deserves to be told, even if it is a year later.
And to your point, Garrett, about the 150,000 that we originally asked for, think of it like a car. That 150,000. Well, it's an expensive car, but
think of it.
It's just something that drives, right? Oh, well, you want air conditioning? Well, that's a little extra. You want cruise control? You want heat? So the more that we can raise, the more creative things we can do with this film. And that's the best analogy I can come up with. So
the perks are definitely cool, and Lolita has made so many of those things happen. Lolita, talk about some of the.
I was just gonna to try to join in. I'm looking at some of the comments, and still there are some people that don't know how to donate. So we'll talk about that again. And they're asking about the away missions, which are really incredible. We have all kinds of wonderful away missions, which will bring you to Los Angeles, and you'll get there on your own, but we will take you to all kinds of great locations. And Garrett, I know, will be there, and we have a lot of other actors who have signed up to be on these away missions. So you should take a look at that on the Indiegogo page. I think there are a few spots left. The Zoom calls are amazing. We've got so many actors that have been willing to give us time to spend an hour with you guys on Zoom. And as everyone said, we didn't know what we could do during COVID, but I think we have really, really been able to do a lot. And without all of your help, it's been really incredible what we've gotten so far from the fans.
And plus, Lolita, you're working on setting up one of our next interviews with a person that we're also excited to sit down with for this documentary, and someone that you've known a very, very, very long time.
Absolutely. For all of you fans out there that know who Jeri Taylor is, co-creator of Voyager, she's not been around for a long time. She's retired for many years now, but if it weren't for Jeri, I honestly believe that there would not be Voyager like it is. And we are very lucky she's agreed to be in the documentary for us, and we can't wait to have that one-on-one with her. So you'll get to see a lot of Jeri in the documentary. And a lot of
No, go.
And a lot of other behind the scenes people, of course, besides the actors, will be in the documentary, as they were in Deep Space Nine. So
I think there's actually an address at the bottom of the screen for the Indiegogo campaign. If you guys want to go there, if you haven't contributed, it's right down there. I'm excited to go on the away missions. I basically volunteered for all of them because they're going to be in a span of a week. So I said, all right, I'll make a week of it. I'll go on all of them, whatever you need me to do. So I'm going on that.
And you're the entertainer, Garrett.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, we had one of the perks was for anybody to be a part of the Delta Flyers podcast that I do. And it's funny because Robbie and I were talking about what we should put the, value of what's the value of that, and, initially we're like, well, I don't know, 500 or 600. And I was thinking, no, it's got to be higher. And so we debated and we ended up with $800. And that went immediately. And I knew that was the wrong price. It should have been higher. Like when something goes immediately, a perk goes immediately, you know that you should have gone higher. And the Delta Flyers. Yeah, when there's only one, exactly. And the Delta Flyers is something that happened because of the pandemic. So just so people understand, I've been trying to look at this pandemic as glasses half full as much as I can. And without the pandemic happening, the Delta Flyers wouldn't have happened. Really, it's an idea that I've had to do a podcast reviewing Voyager episodes forever. And not until the pandemic did it really become a reality, because sitting around on your butt all day, you're starting to thinking, what do I need to get done? What can I do now? And my co-host, Robbie Mcneil, is a very busy director. He's left the world of acting.
Who is that?
Robbie Mcneil plays Tom Paris. So Tom Paris from Voyager. Yeah, he's been a big director, and so pandemic has also struck the directing world just as much as the acting world. So he was available. Megan was the one that said, you should ask Robbie, and I go, he's not. Wait a minute, he is not busy right now. Actually, this is a good choice. So we started that up. Another cool thing that came from the cruise was at the end of the day, Megan, myself, and our friend Aaron would go to the buffet, the late night buffet on the cruise ship. And both Megan and Aaron are vegan. So the only thing they could eat were French fries and guacamole. That was it. That was the only thing. So then we would do this as this became a ritual. And then we started a weekly Zoom call, and we let people that were on the cruise and the cruise Facebook group. We announced that we were doing this group called Guac and Fries, and the Guac and Fries continuity plan. And Guac and Fries has grown, and it's different people from the cruise, different fans from the cruise that join us. And we have a Friday Zoom call every Friday. And we've been doing this every week since the cruise came back into port. And it's been pretty amazing. Cool. So that's another plus that's happened because of this pandemic. But more than anything, I'm just excited that with all this extra time, there's more time to really plan for this documentary, to get everything done the perfect way, the best way possible. Because typically, when you're producing anything, you're under a time crunch. You need to get things. There's deadlines. You have to get certain things done by this date, or else you're in hot water. But because of the pandemic, we've really been able to plan things better than we could have, I think. And so that's really an exciting thing for me, knowing that we're going to be able to put all of our effort into this 100% and get the best job done. And really, it starts with the crowdfunding campaign, really getting the funding for that.
Definitely.
And we have a woman's voice in this film, more so than ever before. Women's voice, starting with Jerry Taylor, and so it's such a strong cast of women. And so it'll be interesting to see the insights of everyone's points of view. Always is. And I'm still fascinated with the fact, Garrett, that you guys all wind up in one place on the first day, and some of you knew each other and some of you didn't. And it's like all of a sudden you get thrown together and you're there for 7 years. Every morning, looking at each other, having to deal with another human being that maybe you knew or you didn't know at all, and just the dynamics of that that we'll be exploring with this, as well as the whole UPN and Voyager really having the pressure of launching that network with the pressure of the first female captain. So, and then the changes that transpired there too. So, really looking forward to.
I certainly remember being there for all of that. So there's some stories to tell. Definitely.
Give us just a little Lolita tease from that time period. There was so much going on.
I just remember the intensity and the pressure especially of recasting the captain, after I can never say her name correctly.
Je-
Garrett, can you help me?
Yes, I will help you. Geneviève Bujold. Geneviève,
Oh,
French Canadian Geneviève Bujold. Okay.
There you go. But I just remember being in that Hart building where all the writers were, and Jerry Taylor and Michael Piller, and the intensity and the worry and everything about finding that next captain. Because when you shut down a production for any amount of time, you're talking about maybe $1 million a day. So there was such an intense amount of, it was craziness. And that's why I can't wait to hear Jerry Taylor's take on that, because she was the one that was living it. But it was intense. That's all I can say, for sure.
And your voice is going to obviously be in the documentary too, Lolita. You lived it. You saw what was going on. You have a completely different, point of view and an insight, because you weren't in the cast, but you were just right outside that door.
Yeah.
And such a crazy time for Star Trek.
I was right outside that door.
Well, actually, you were inside the door, but you know what I mean. You weren't in front of the camera, but you had, you lived it every day, just like they did. You came to the Paramount lot, and there's one huge family of people, moving forward for 7 years.
Yeah. For me, every day for 15 years. So, yeah, pretty incredible.
Give everybody just a quick, some people may not know of your background, Lolita. So just remind everybody.
I began in 1987. I walked into the Hart building for a one-day job, and Gene Roddenberry was still alive, and he greeted me as he did every day. And they thought that I was going to be their Microsoft Word expert, and I had no idea what that even was, but I faked my way through. And I was there for 15 years and was the script coordinator on TNG, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager. So, yeah, it was an incredible ride, and still is, obviously. Here we are. For me, it's been 33 years now. Half my life has been involved in Star Trek, and I had no idea that day. Sorry?
Finish, Lolita.
Oh, I was going to say, and I had no idea that day I walked into that building that, the rest of my life was going to be involved in Star Trek. Absolutely no idea. So here I am, and very proud to be here, and just been able to travel the world and meet all these fans and all the actors that are my friends, and working on this documentary is really special.
Garrett, Helene has a family connection to this whole franchise.
Really? Helene? Do tell.
My aunt was one of the writers of two books. One, I mentioned the last Zoom call we did podcast, is Star Trek Lives, which when we did For the Love of Spock, Adam Nimoy shared with me that was the one book that he had on his nightstand when he was doing research on original series.
Wow.
And this one is Shatner, Where No Man, is his first authorized biography. And it's from the 70s. And my aunt co-wrote this with Bill.
Wow.
So it was very neat when we started working on these films to be able to speak to Susan Sackett and Richard Arnold, who's no longer with us, who both were Gene Roddenberry's assistants, and for them to know who I was, to know my family, it's a nice payoff for us, because I'm the ultimate geek girl. So to be working on these projects 20, 30 years later from my family's connection, it's been great.
Wow, that's amazing. Really So those books were written in the 70s, though, right?
Yeah. And then they wrote a series of novels after the original series went off the air. My aunt, if you Google her name, Sandra Marshak, she's written like a dozen different Star Trek novels with the cast after the series went off the air. But Star Trek Lives really captures the fans. It talks about the very first conventions and how I think they thought they were going to get 100 people and they got like 1,000. So it's a snapshot of that time of the beginning of fandom for the series. It's really cool.
Was this something that you learned on your first date, Kevin?
Yeah, I was a casual Star Trek fan, but I was not deep. But yeah, Helene is definitely the ultimate fan, and our daughter was actually we went to the hospital in the middle of
her birthday is actually on Monday, and she shares her birthday with William Shatner. So happy birthday to our daughter Amber Joy, and happy birthday to Bill, who we speak to every year and call him and wish him a happy birthday.
There you go. There you go.
Bill's going to be 90 this year.
Is that right?
Yeah, 90. Yeah.
The big Garrett, 90. Yes.
Garrett, do we have a time to take a couple questions from the audience here?
Yeah, sure. I think we have a little bit of time. What do we have? Let's see.
We've got all kinds of comments, and want to know how do we get guacamole and fries, and there's all kinds of stuff.
Guac and fries. I think it might be a closed group right now. I don't know. It's on Facebook. That's originally how we got on there. Is there another cruise? Okay. Will the Voyager documentary have a pitching an 8th season as the DS9 documentary did? Joe, you want to say something to that?
Yeah, that was something for the Deep Space Nine documentary that Ira Stephen Bear came up with, and he got his fellow writers together for that, and that was unique to that documentary. We're not going to have that, but we are, and this kind of wraps into our 10th stretch goal. We have multiple ideas and plans that we would like to explore, but we need to talk to CBS about. So there's not going to be a writer's room like there was in What We Left Behind, but we hope and are planning on something that will, in our minds, rival the writer's room, to be something that is unique to this documentary that's going to make all Voyager fans very excited. And there's multiple ideas, and once again, depending on how much if we can raise, maybe we can do all of it, but we don't know yet. But we know there's going to be there's going to be some great stuff, because we want to satisfy everyone and give them something that they didn't expect that's just going to blow their minds.
Yeah, and right now, guys, in the documentary crowdfunding Olympics, we're in bronze place right now. So we want to get the gold medal if we can. So we're going to shoot for that, because I want Joe Kornbolt's obituary to read as editor and co-producer of the #1 crowdfunded documentary in the history of all documentary crowdfunding endeavors. Would you like that, Joe? It's a bit morbid that I'm going to your obituary already, because you're still a young guy. But
yeah, but you never know what could happen. So the fact that you're concerned about my obituary, that's an honor to me, Garrett.
Garrett, somebody just mentioned sound design and that whole audio aspect, which is going to be all original score. Will it not be, Joe?
Well, sound design is. I think they're talking about the sound effects.
No. Sound effects, sound design, and I'm moving it into the audio.
Oh, into the audio, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Sure.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, we're definitely gonna be talking to various behind the scenes people involved in the show. Are you talking about? What was the question?
About our composer, Joe.
Oh, our composers. Well, you were talking. Okay, yes, our composers. We are happy to bring back the same composers that we used for What We Left Behind, which would be Dennis McCarthy, who composed the Deep Space Nine theme song, but was one of the regular series composers on Voyager, and his composing partner. They work together on Enterprise, Kevin Kiner. Aside from scoring What We Left Behind, they're going to score the Voyager doc. So we're very thrilled and happy to have those guys.
Super pumped up. Nothing like sitting in a mixing room with really, really talented composers.
Definitely.
We're getting a lot of comments about feedback, and we do know that. We apologize. It's Kevin's mic, because in order to have Kevin and Helene on, he can't wear the earbuds, because then Helene would hear nothing. So that's why you're hearing a little bit of feedback if Kevin's not muting himself. So we apologize for that, but we thank you for enduring and sticking around and listening to the times that we have a little bit of feedback. But that's our fault. So please keep on hanging in there. Is there any other question that we see here that's a good question to answer very quickly? Lolita is awesome. Lolita is a peach. These are not questions, but just praise for Lolita. Applauds Lolita. Wow, Lolita, this is your fan club. Good Lord. I met Lolita at a convention. Thank you for being so kind and awesome. Lolita is wow. There's so much Lolita is awesome here. Lolita, this is good. This is good news for you. Look at this. You're taking the gold medal for praise on the comments here. I love it. My goodness. Right. So once again, guys, it's the Indiegogo campaign. You can find the Voyager documentary. You can follow the progress of the Voyager documentary through Twitter, through Facebook, through all the different social media platforms that are out there, as well as Instagram, of course. So those are your ways of following what's happening with this documentary. And of course, the donations are still coming in, and we appreciate that. And we are going to keep this campaign going through the month of March. And
we have a little surprise for everyone, Garrett. We have a little video we put together.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
We were talking about the cruise.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a little compilation of some of our experiences. Not all of them, but some of them.
Great.
And this will be the first look at this footage for you guys.
I'm excited. Can we throw to it now?
Yeah.
Where are we right now?
We're on the water.
We're on the water.
He's my translator, by the way, just in case. This is instead of closed captioning.
I'm going to translate you into German, so go ahead.
Star Trek The Cruise 4.
Star Trek Staffroden.
And I just want to say right now that I apologize to all of our German fans.
Genau, ich möchte uns melden Schmidt.
For my tasteless colleague, Ethan Phillips.
Ethan Scheinfreud.
The cruise is a land-based convention times 100. There's just a lot going on.
Live on and prosper. Think outside the box.
You get to see other sides of the actors. That's fun for them, but also fun for the fans, because we're all in the same boat.
Captain, pleasure to meet you.
The pleasure is all mine.
Yeah?
Always. Your chair was probably better than this one. Here you have it only as a joystick.
As a joystick?
Yes.
Captain Janeway might take that very literally.
Oh,
Okay.
I just turned 70 years old. I went to the doctor and he didn't bother to take an x-ray. He just held me up to the light.
We're on a little away mission in Puerto Rico. I've disembarked with the doctor from Voyager. Running without the captain. We'll see how it goes.
Let's have a look at the match.
That's a good match.
To live long in Mofongo.
I did an excursion, a snorkeling excursion. So we went to Trunk Bay, which is in St. John's.
We're ready to go snorkeling.
It would help if you put the snorkel in first.
We did a group photo at the end in the water. I started entertaining the fans that came, and now they're surrounding me. But the funniest thing is watching people that were sitting on the beach that were not part of the Star Trek cruise. They're looking out there, and they're like, what is going on? Who is that Asian Jesus out there?
Yay!
So,
just call me Asian Jesus from now on, everybody.
So there it is. That's a little peek at the cruise. All those things we were talking about.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining in, and thank you everyone for tuning in and watching our little Q&A panel here. Thank you, Kevin and Helene and Joe and Lolita. I think we lost Lolita, but maybe because she's only audio and not video. We don't have her.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Garrett. Thank you, everyone.